Crosschoke, a podcast from the Fight Life Ministries, is brought to you by, well, you, the listener. If you want to learn how to support our show, go to tflministries.com. Welcome to Crosschoke, a TFL podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Zach Anderson. Each week, I'm joined by the one and only Dakota Raitan. We have combined experience in MMA, music, ministry, and food. We hope we add value to your day. Now, enjoy the show.
It's the cross. Jesus went to that cross, and he took the stripes, and he took the nails, and he bore all those things for us. 3 days later, up from the grave, he arose. 3 days later, he rose as King of Kings and as Lord of Lords.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 15 of Crosschoke, a TFL Ministries podcast. I am one of your hosts, Dakota, and I am joined, like always, with the fantastic Zach.
I feel like a little child that got introduced to, like, their parents' friend. My fantastic child.
I felt like a weatherman introducing you to do the local weather report.
Here's the fantastic Mike Hurd. All right, guys, we got some Patchy Valley fog coming in from the southwest.
Where did you pull that out?
I've watched a newscast once or twice in my day. I mean, how exciting can the life of a weatherman be? You really have to like the weather in order to continue to do that.
Yeah.
You
Plus,
know,
I've sent a lot of hate mail to the Billings weatherman.
What? No way.
No, I'm just kidding.
I hate you.
You're
so wrong.
Liar McGuire.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. He was never right. I mean, it's not his fault. What's he supposed to do?
Well, I mean, it really is. You know what I mean? If there's going to be a weatherman, you got to be somewhat right. Most of the time, they're not, I feel. They're like, oh, well, we're not really sure about tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like my phone is more reliable than a weatherman.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
I mean, a meteorologist.
A meteorologist. Not to hate on a weatherman, but, I mean, I am kind of.
So, Zach, what's been going on?
Well, I've been working through my lapel encyclopedia from Keenan Cornelius.
Oh, yeah?
As you could tell, I have the sweatshirt to back it up.
Did that come with the book?
No, and it's not a book.
Oh. It's an encyclopedia.
Encyclopedia.
That's an inside joke.
Oh.
Well, kind of. It's from How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, the main character is just like a jerk when it comes to pronouncing words wrong.
Encyclopedia.
So he says that's his thing. Like, that's the right way to say it.
Well, I do have the lapel encyclopedia. It's all digital, and it's not a book. It's videos.
Oh.
But it's been really good. So the little amount of rolling I've been able to get in, through this period of whatever, I've been, because the lapel encyclopedia was like 50% off or something.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, dude, I'm going to get it. Because I like Keenan, and what Keenan does, he's just the guru. And him and I have like the same body type. So if you are into watching YouTube videos for jiu-jitsu, I suggest finding somebody who's like you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so if you're a small in stature kind of person, find somebody who's like that, who, rather than watch like a gigantic heavyweight athlete, it might not be the same.
So who's a really small, like, petite person I could watch?
For you?
Like, yeah.
How about, what's that guy's name?
I'm looking for someone maybe with an Italian name, maybe like Mario or
Mario Yamasaki. He'll be.
Did you just make that name up?
No, he's a referee who lets people die when they fight.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Yeah. The last thing you want is him, or what's that guy? The guy's Yves Levine. Kurt Osiander. There he is. Kurt Osiander's the guy for you.
Oh yeah.
Look him up.
Nice little small Irishman.
Yeah. He's not really small, but yeah, he'll jack you up.
That's good.
He's pretty raw on YouTube. But other than that, I've been working on my beard.
Oh yeah, it's looking good.
I'm part of the beard club.
Oh, wow.
Yep, beard oil.
I used to be in the beard club.
Yeah, you're not anymore. You've overcome the beard club.
I've conquered it.
Yeah, you're like beyond the beard club.
Well, so I mean, everyone's beard starts out real patchy. So when I was in high school, the beard club had like just came out, and so I'd subscribed to it. But I still have oil, like left over. I still have one full bottle of the growth oil, and one half bottle of like their standard oil.
Okay.
Because I don't use it every day. I should, but I don't.
I bathe in it. No, I'm just kidding.
You want your whole body to be a beard.
Well, I got like the beard growth kit, and
You got like the comb.
the comb, which is obviously irrelevant right now. I don't need the comb.
You do it anyways.
I'm like, oh yeah, it's coming in. What if that was the trick? You just got to comb what's not there. But no, it came with like this kind of torture device that you roll. Like, okay, think of like a pizza cutter, or not a pizza cutter, a pizza roller thing. You know, like with like the spikes.
Oh yeah.
Right, that you roll over the crust. But like this thing is like that, but on a tiny scale with a 0.5 millimeter death pokies on it. And you're supposed to roll your face with that thing
Yikes.
to stimulate blood flow and promote like new hair follicles. But dude, it jacks your face up, bro. Like it just makes it irritated. But so it recommends only doing like once or twice a week. And so I've been doing that
Every day, twice a day.
So once or twice a week, I'm doing it in the morning and at night. I don't know why. I just got this ambitious desire to have like a lumberjack beard, you know?
Yeah, man, go for it.
Because I'm realizing my hair's not getting any thicker.
You should pour some beard oil up there.
So my dad was like, man, if it's working, I'll use it on my head.
The beard oil. That's great.
And then one of my last ambitions lately has been to grow as a minister, to grow personally. And so I have a couple different mentors that I meet with, one bi-weekly, one every other month, and then another one I meet with monthly. So that's been a great addition to my life in general. But one of the guys I'm meeting with every other week had me put together a list of positives and negatives in ministry with me. You know, like, what am I good at in ministry? What am I bad at in ministry? What are my tendencies? And so we just had our meeting yesterday, but I've been working on this for like a week or so. But that was really good. Like, really, you know, everything that we think about ourselves usually isn't accurate. You know what I mean? Like, we could have a pretty good idea, and I feel like I'm growing in honesty in how I can view myself. And what I mean by honesty, that does, usually people like say, hey, be honest with yourself. Usually we correlate that to the negative.
Sure.
You know, but I feel like a lot of times we see ourselves more negatively than positive.
Yeah.
You know, so like if we're being honest with ourselves in light of Scripture, you should see yourself way more positive than negative. You know, like when we think of, oh, how do I do in ministry? Like, I mean, the list of negatives can just go. And then like positives, like, oh, I'm kind of good at this, you know. It's not prideful to be honest in your evaluation, you know.
Sure.
Like, so we were talking about that. And even your negatives, like say, I oftentimes don't utilize a team well. Or another thing that I wrote down was I could be way performance-based in ministry. But those things can be a positive when given to God.
Yeah.
You know, like a self-starter or, you know, like that kind of thing. But obviously you need a team and things. But when, and this is what we talked about, which was a really good game changer for me, is negatives cross the line. Negatives become negative when they're about me.
Okay.
You know, but if I'm like a self-starter, motivator, let's do it all kind of thing, and give that to God, that's stewarded well because that's my tendency. So everything can be used for God's glory, even the negatives.
Wow.
So that
especially
the negatives.
Yeah, that's good.
So anyways, that's what I've been up to. And I got a nice fat cup of Joe in front of me that's like lighting me up. You got a great coffee maker.
It's that too, but it's the coffee grounds, man. City Brew Roasting.
Plug.
2900 Harrison Avenue.
And this is something I just realized, bro. Do you recognize the table we're podcasting on this morning?
It's my coffee table.
It's our first episode table.
Oh, you're right.
Right? This was so we're at Dakota's house this morning.
Yep.
And I woke up about 5 minutes ago.
And I've been up since like 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
Baby.
Dakota went on a run and had an apple and was cheery, and I'm like, shut up.
Mowed the lawn and fixed my roof. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a dad now, you know.
There was frost on my car this morning, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, so like I'm late anyways. I get out to my car. You know, you give it the old windshield wiper to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have to get back out and you're like,
You're like, but how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm living life. It's this kind of hard week, but today is a new day.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
And you are a great example of the one day at a time.
It's like you were saying, there are good things to negatives because I am very much, well, you know what it is I had a father figure in my life when I was in high school, and he told me literally, if there's one piece of advice I could give you, it's that, like, take life one day at a time and not any further. Don't know if that was the best advice ever, but I did live like that for a while, and I still do. Like, I'm looking towards the future, but like if today goes awry, there's always tomorrow.
And even still today itself, like, you know, we can't get so wound up with unrealistic expectations in the day. And I think we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Sure.
You are listening to Crosschoke, a TFL podcast. We post each and every other Monday, and we're going to get better about that. Remember, you could be a part of the show by going to tflministries.com/podcast and submit any questions, comments, or concerns, just like Alex Sexton did.
He said, "Hey guys, I saw you had 3 options for topics: how to be a better competitor, the power of influence, and finding the right balance. My question is about number 2, the power of influence. John C. Maxwell says that leadership is influence. Therefore, my question is, with the rapid change of the world right before our eyes, how can those of us who look to others for leadership know we are taking good advice from the right leader? In other words, what makes a good leader, and to know we are being influenced by the right kind of people? Thank you for answering. Your friend, Alex."
You know, it's a great question because too often we don't really filter the voices influencing our lives.
Sure.
And it's a great question because how do we know what right leaders to listen to and not? And it's kind of a cliche answer, but who's telling the truth? You know, and so like, say, for example, let's talk about some of the leaders like Joel Osteen, right? He gets a lot of hate. I think he gets a little too much hate than he should.
Agreed.
But one thing that he doesn't do, which is something to watch for, is he never mentions the cross. You know, he never talks about the Calvary, the death, the resurrection of Jesus. Like that's very rarely said in his ministry, which is central to life change in any ministry.
Sure.
You know, like, may everything that we talk about come back to the cross. It's all about Jesus. It's all about him.
Are you telling me I can't get a soundbite of him saying cross for our next cross choke season?
I dare you. No, I'm sure it's out there. But
hours of research.
But you know, central to his message is a better you, almost.
Yeah.
You know, which is fine if that's his emphasis because that's part of the gospel. You know?
That's
you know,
true.
so that's fine. Like that's okay, but it has to be rooted in the cross, right?
Yep.
Another great leader that I like to listen to is Greg Groeschel.
Oh yeah.
I like his flavor of speech. You know, I mean,
I want to play backyard football with that guy.
Dude, I bet he's a savage. I bet he would take you out, bro. He's an intense guy.
Yeah, maybe I don't want to play backyard. Maybe I want to play catch with him.
Play catch. Like the scene of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 where Chris Pratt and what the heck is that? What's his dad's name in Guardians of the Galaxy 2? What the heck is that guy's name?
Chris Pratt's dad. I don't remember his name.
Kurt Russell.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That's probably the worst scene in the MCU is when those two are playing catch on the planet that Ego
That might
made.
be the worst movie in the MCU.
Guardians 2. Okay, here's the thing. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 has some of the greatest character introductions.
That's true.
Because
It
with
sets
Mantis,
up other films.
Yeah, exactly. And I love the I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. So like anything they put out is great. So I love those characters. But the story was just.
And there's some cool scenes, when Rocket's booby trapping.
That's great. We were watching that the other day.
You just living it up.
And I really like the relationship between Yondu and Rocket, Yondu and Star-Lord. And I really hate that Yondu died in that movie. Oh, I'm sorry if that's a spoiler for you. By now, if you didn't see it.
Yeah, come on.
I mean.
I'm just kidding.
But.
That was off topic.
Come on, got me a Marlin! Yeah!
But what do you have to say about that? About kind of filtering what leaders we have in our head and what makes a good leader? How do we know we're being influenced by the right leaders? Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I would say look at who's influencing those leaders. That's a great way to tell, what kind of information they're going to bring out. And then secondly, if they're humble, if they say something and then they go back and are open to admitting, hey, I was wrong. Mm-hmm. Instead of just going with it and saying, no, I meant what I said, even though everyone knows it was wrong. That's a good leader. And then just as a last just kind of point, I think it's different in the generation we live, just kind of like Alex was mentioning. Because when I was speaking with someone the other day, they were saying, back in their day, before internet, they were able to just turn on the news and trust what any news person was saying, because that was the news. They were telling you the truth, and they had a right to tell you the truth. But now the news is almost rarely accurate. It's hard to say, but it's true. The news is more like entertainment versus actual factual information. And so it is harder now than it used to be.
Yeah. Because everybody has a ulterior motive.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. And it's kind of stupid because it's easy to tell that motive's there, but they just don't care.
Mm-hmm. Which a lot of people who listen to them don't care.
Yeah.
And don't be that person.
That's dangerous.
And that would probably be our advice is don't be, I guess, so easily influenced.
Yeah.
Have your own set of standards and start to develop those. And what that takes is time and dedication to have your own set of morals, your kind of compass. So thank you for your question, Alex. We appreciate it. Remember, you could be a part of the show, tflministries.com/podcast. In other news, Dakota, we have 2 items of housekeeping on our can opener.
Yes, we do.
We want to say a special thank you to those who have become TFL Cornermen, either through a one-time gift of $1, $5, $10, or through joining our prayer squad. Your support is greatly appreciated. To become a TFL Cornerman, visit our website.
And then secondly, Season 2 of Crosschoke will be reaching its climactic conclusion. So if you have any suggestions for topics you'd like us to discuss in Season 2, please let us know before we scurry away into our caves, reevaluate, and prep for Season 3.
Balance.
Balance. I don't want to say it too soft. I don't want to say it too loud.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to get jacked up about balance, Balance.
Balance.
Almost sounds like a counselor or somebody. Balance.
It reminds me of a 80s aerobic, you put on the TV and you get in your leggings and you're like, let's do balance.
All right, folks, today. Now be careful. If you need something next to you, grab on. Go at your own pace now. Balance, Dakota. There are a lot of areas that can potentially be out of balance in our lives or well balanced in our life. And a lot of people responded to our survey asking, where do you want us to go in the next couple weeks?
Yeah.
And we threw out the power of influence, how to be a better competitor, and how to find balance.
Yep.
And it was kind of to my surprise that the majority of people wanted to talk about balance.
I think that's the one I would have picked.
Really?
Personally. Yeah.
Yeah. So
which one would you have picked?
How to be a better competitor.
Yeah.
That would have been, I could talk about that all day.
Yeah.
Because I'm a horrible competitor.
Wow. Sure.
I could be a lot better. Like, nah, I don't want to go down that rail. That's another discussion. If you want to talk about how to be a better competitor. Okay, I'm not that bad at being a competitor. But here's the thing. I can't really... I'm learning how to better correlate how I train to how I compete. There we go. That would be a fun conversation.
And there's a balance to that.
There's a balance to that.
That we might talk about.
Today, we're going to talk about how to walk the high wire. Physical balance.
Yeah.
Physical balance.
So, today's episode, we're going to talk about finding the balance physically, which could mean health, nutrition, exercise, rest, etc.
Etc. Kind of fill in the blank.
Yeah.
We're going to kind of fly by the seat of our pants. Is that the seam of our pants? What's that saying? Why do I try to say these things that I don't know all the time? And then I just sound like a big doof.
I think one time I said, we're going to do this by the fly of our pants.
Don't hit him with the fly swatter, folks.
Oh, gosh.
Whap.
Well, let's get into some questions here, huh?
Okay.
So first off, for both of us to answer, how balanced are you physically?
Well, man, I could lift one foot and stretch while not like falling over. Pretty good that way.
So I think for me, like, okay, so when I was in high school taking like physical ed or health or whatever you call it, they would say someone who is considered fit can do daily activities with ease. So by that standard, like, I can do daily activities with ease. I can walk upstairs. I can go for a run. Like, if I had to go run somewhere, like Dairy Queen, I could go do that. But I'm not one who exercises consistently or eats healthily regularly. Mm-hmm. Like, for instance, last year in May, I was almost 320 pounds, and I'm 6'2", which doesn't look terrible on a 6'2" person. But I think, like, what the CDC, why do they care?
I was like, you talked to the CDC.
No, what's the...
FDA?
Yeah.
Okay.
What they recommend as, like, the right amount of
body weight
for, like, someone who's 6'2" is, like, 180 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since then, you have that was like last year.
Yeah.
So then you went on a diet, correct?
I sure did.
Which was awesome.
It was.
Alex and I thought it might have been a little too extreme for you.
It's good for other people, I think.
But it was positive in a lot of ways,
yeah.
except for the fact that you lost your gallbladder.
Yeah.
And almost died.
I didn't almost die.
Okay, well.
I was in so much pain, I thought I was dying.
Yeah, and Alex and I intervened and said, bro, just eat pizza, okay? Have some balance. And I think you needed a little bit of balance with that diet.
I went from one extreme to another. Went from eating like 4 Big Macs a day to eating like
3
one
granola
Cheerio.
bars. Yeah. One Cheerio. Split between a couple hours. He'd eat half.
I lost almost 90 pounds in like 4 months.
Yeah.
So.
Which was encouraging, though.
Yeah, but also
right?
that's
but a little,
not healthy.
A little
that's
on the unhealthy side.
That's a lot of weight.
And there's a lot of misconceptions in that way.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about some of that today. How balanced am I physically? I feel, or I know, I could be more balanced. My diet is usually not that bad, but not that good. Like,
I mean, you eat chicken and veggies for every meal.
Yeah, that's true. But the amount of pasta I eat at every meal is probably not recommended.
Sure.
Especially when I have pasta for every meal.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, I nailed it. I nailed it for breakfast, second breakfast, lunch, and dinner just the other day. I just love pasta. I love if you gave me pasta and burgers for every meal, dude, I'd be fine. I probably wouldn't be fine. I would be happy. So my diet, I mean, we could look at, like we kind of said, we could look at it at health, nutrition, exercise, rest. So like health-wise, I can improve for sure in my balance there, but I do feel like I balance my exercise well, not necessarily for the physical side, but the mental side.
Sure.
I can become way too fogged or too hard on myself mentally with exercise, nutrition, and rest really helps clear my head and reset my perspective.
That's good.
Like that's really important to me is rest. But
I'm kind of the same way.
Yeah.
Like when we did our first workout and it was all like based on how far I want to push myself. I have no limits. Like I don't understand it.
You don't know when to stop.
Like I will just keep going until I literally throw up. Like
You had me nervous one of the times we worked out because it took you like 15 minutes to get out of my downstairs.
Dude, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like why can't I just know like my limitations?
Well, you got to learn what they are.
That's the problem.
And then keep to them.
And then remember.
Like I know when I'm doing a workout and I start to see stars, literally, like start to get a little lightheaded, and
that's the point you keep pushing.
There's a friend of ours that doesn't know when to tap. I don't know if it's his ego or if he physically just does not know when the curtains are starting to close.
He missed that day of jiu-jitsu where
that's an everyday,
you need
bro.
you tap twice.
Here's when you tap.
Here's how to tap. Tap twice with your hand, your foot.
I've probably seen him go unconscious. I've probably seen him go unconscious. What is that word?
Unconscious.
Unconscious. Wow, I feel like a child.
His Jiminy Cricket he's just out the window. He's totally unconscious.
So as far as my balancing goes, on 1 being not balanced at all, 10 being yes, I'm a perfectly balanced ideal person. I'd give myself like a 6.5, maybe 7.
Out of how many?
Well, 10.
Well, perfectly balanced would be 5.
Oh, shut up. So Dakota, here's kind of an overarching question: is how do we get off balance?
Sure.
And how can we get in balance? And that's sort of where we want to go in this conversation. Yeah. And I feel like this can relate to most people. Most people would probably say they're feel off balance, especially in, the season of life that we're all in.
Right.
So how do we find balance in the midst of that? Because I feel most people want to have, out of the 1 to 10, the 5. Feel balanced. I'm comfortable in my own skin.
Sure. I'm not in a, well, that's other than health, but I was going to say, I'm not an aggressive person or I'm not a shy person. I want to be like in the middle.
Yeah. Okay, I see you. Yeah. Is that what you'd like to be? Is like a half aggressive, half calm person?
I'd want to be more aggressive. Well, is that the right word?
How so? Like as an entrepreneur aggressive?
Well,
or like...
in the workplace, I would consider myself a bulldog. Well, that's what I've been referred to by other people, because
that's amazing to me.
Because I'll rip into someone if I have to.
Man, can I just walk around with you as you go to your tenants and?
I'm a different man at work. I'll tell you that. I'm still the same me, but
you're business oriented. You're you.
I'm here to get stuff done.
No nonsense. Yeah.
But on the personal realm, I am very much
teddy bear.
Yeah, and laid back.
Hippo.
Imagine a stoner but with no drugs. That's kind of what I am. Wouldn't you agree? That's my lifestyle.
Yeah, dude. It's right on.
Let's go get some munchies. I'm not
some
high
ice
or
cream.
anything. Let's go get some.
Yeah, let's
put on some records and just listen to them.
So would you say balance is very much personal?
Oh yeah.
Very, very much personal preference.
Yep. And I would say balance is, in my opinion, completely mental. Mm-hmm. Even on a physical realm. Because I was thinking about this morning. We were talking about physical, spiritual, and mental balance. I think they're not each their own category. They're all a triangle. They all coincide with one another.
Right, you can't have one without the other.
Yeah. If I'm not balanced physically, and I just don't give a rip about my physical balance, that's going to affect my spiritual and my mental. And same with mental. If I'm not balanced mentally, how am I supposed to go like exercise and eat right? And how is my spiritual life going to look?
Yeah, they're all correlated and have a line connecting them.
Yeah.
Now, as far as balance being very much personal preferenced,
Yeah.
there's also the side of it to where I do think Scripture outlines a great kind of outline of what it looks like to have a balanced life as well.
Yeah.
Purely just by looking at the life of Jesus. You know, because you can think of Jesus as being everywhere for everybody, but he wasn't. You know, that's one area in my life that helps me reel things back in, because I can tend to want to do everything everywhere and do it well. You know, which spreads me thin, which makes everything halfway done and not one thing done well.
Yeah.
So that's something I need to surrender constantly, because I could get off balance in my task-oriented mindset. And looking at Jesus' life, oftentimes he withdrew from the crowd. He spent 30 years of his life not doing anything but prepping. You know, he was sleeping. You know, like, and think of the people he didn't heal too. And of course, the Bible doesn't record everything that Jesus did, and it says that too. It would be a book too big to read.
Yeah.
You know, but think of the people that he didn't reach. You know, he had limitations of a physical man. He couldn't be everywhere at all times. That's why the Holy Spirit is so special, because he said the Holy Spirit's going to precede me and do greater things than I, and you will do greater things with the Holy Spirit than I could.
Right.
Which is still mind-blowing, and I don't think we ignore that truth a lot. But overall, Jesus was limited by being one man.
Yeah.
So that's okay. And that's something that I always need to remember as well. But look to the life of Jesus and study that. Start to in your Bible study, think about Jesus through different lenses. You know, how can I relate to Jesus? You know, of course he was God, but he was relatable in every possible way. And it's easy to not think that way sometimes.
Right.
Now, in another realm, so with that in mind, that balance is very much personal preference.
Yeah.
Yet we could look at Jesus for how to be balanced, and we're just talking physically right now, just as a person. Weight loss and nutrition.
Yeah.
There's a book out there by Alex Sexton, believe it or not, and here's a quote from his book called "Losing Weight and Six-Pack Abs." He goes, "A common sense approach involving exercise and nutrition is all that is required to get ripped, washboard abs. When most people think about losing weight, what comes to mind is words like hunger, deprivation, diet, and agony. No, losing weight properly will not result in any of these. The key is the above two words, common sense. Most of the fad diets out there are unhealthy, dangerous, or both, and lead to deprivation and hunger, which eventually leads to binging and guilt, the typical unhealthy yo-yo weight loss pattern. What we want is permanent weight loss. Yo-yo dieting is way too much work. Just learn to make a few simple, healthy substitutions, and the weight comes off and stays off for good." And I read through that last night. You know, it's a short kind of book. It's like just kind of overviews 3 main steps. But he goes through, you know, exercising, eating less, drinking lots of water, sleep. Usually, most people know these things are needed.
Right.
And overall,
it's common sense.
And that's just it. Overall, it comes back to the idea of common sense. You know, if you're tired, you probably need sleep.
What?
If you feel like poo-poo, you probably need to exercise and eat something different.
You know, one thing I read on Reddit the other day, there's this subreddit called Life Pro Tips, and it was like, if something feels off balance in your day-to-day life, like you just randomly feel not well, 9 out of 10 times, it's that you need to drink some water. Yeah.
That's an easy fix.
Yeah.
When people come to me asking, like, "Hey, what's your diet?" You know, or what should I do to, you know, get in better shape? Man, I've told you this before too. Is just don't change.
Amino acids. No, I'm just kidding.
The secret to my success is aminos. You know how many questions I get a week about what's in my jug? So I pack around this blue water. What color would you say water is? It's transparent. But anyways, my water looks like windshield wiper fluid. But I mean, I bet 3 to 5 times a week, hey, what's in that jug? And it bothers me actually. But I'm like,
you should just write windshield wiper fluid on it, or like antifreeze or something.
Or maybe I should take a windshield wiper fluid jug, clean it out.
Or Windex. It looks like Windex.
Yeah. Tastes great. Like, now going back to normal water just isn't enough. Like, when I just have a normal drink of water, I'm like, stuff's lame. You know, I'm accustomed to those aminos.
That's so awesome.
But if somebody asks, what can I do in my diet? The only thing I'll say is don't change anything, but drink more water.
Yeah.
That alone. You need way more water than you think.
Yep.
And if you drink too much water, your body gets rid of it. You know, like,
Yep.
you know, you might go to the bathroom a few more times than normal, but that's so good for you. And that alone is a common sense thing.
Yeah.
Exercise. So let's talk about balance with exercise a little bit. Dakota, pushing through those limits is healthy. It's good. That's how you grow.
Yep.
But you got to kind of know, like, okay, I'm seeing stars. And
Take the foot off the gas.
Take the foot off the gas.
We're at 120 miles per hour.
Faster. 15 more.
It's hard to learn. You know, I bet a lot of people are kind of like me, where you grew up not with those disciplines. Like, I never had anybody tell me. I even had sports in my life. I played football and baseball growing up, and I did a little bit of wrestling too, which I was terrible at. But
you did?
I did.
Did I know this?
No. I did it when I was like really little, like 7, 8 years old. The only thing I remember is we didn't go to any of the wrestling matches because they were always on Sunday. And my family was like, we're not missing church. I'm like, why am I even in this? And then every time we did practice, I'd get yelled at because I never, clipped my nails. So no one ever wanted to wrestle with me.
You just were scratching people.
So, what was I talking about? Balance here? Okay.
Why didn't you clip your nails?
I don't know.
Was just kind
I
of
was
like
just
a
a
kid thing?
dumb little kid.
Yeah.
But I never had anyone like sit me down and tell me like the right way to exercise or diet until I was like an adult.
And that brings up a good point too, is ask help.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to, you know, I feel like there's another misconception that everybody you see who's working out or running knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Most of them don't.
Right.
But it is better than not doing anything. But don't compare that. You know, just do you.
Right.
You know, there's YouTube, which is Alex calls YouTube his dad. I was asking him about a fence the other day. I was like, do you know how to put in a chain link fence? You know, because we need one for Thor, our dog.
Yeah.
And he goes, nothing my dad and I can't do.
I mean, I learned how to take care of my lawn from YouTube.
Which looks amazing, by the way.
Thanks.
I meant to tell you that this morning, but I was too groggy.
I'm a proud father.
How about the sun this morning, dude?
Holy
that thing
cow.
was so bright. You came to the door, and I just was.
I thought
you would have thought I was Jesus or
honestly,
something.
the sun was right behind you.
It was majestic. But find help.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Know? Like, even so, when I graduated high school, I really wanted to get fit, and I did sort of I was exercising and whatnot. But so when we would go to the gym, it's really weird because you look around and you're like, you think everyone's watching you, but everyone feels that way at the gym. And kind of the cool thing is, gym rats really aren't that bad. Like, they'll come up and give you helpful hints and tips and hey, I just want to let you know your form's a little off. Don't want you to hurt yourself. Here's how I would do it. And we had a lot of people come up and give us that sort of information,
which is cool.
Yeah.
And just I think a lot of insecurities are revealed through exercise.
Yeah.
And the gym, and people feel bad about themselves, and don't.
Right.
I mean, it's not as easy as that, but it is.
Yeah.
It's like, man,
it's a mindset.
Like, how many times have you heard I need to get in shape before I go to the gym?
Right.
Like I hear it all the time with jiu-jitsu and MMA and that. It's like, oh man, after I get in shape, I'll be there. It's like, are you kidding me? That makes no sense. Like, start somewhere.
Yeah.
You know?
You don't have to be in shape to do jiu-jitsu.
Just like you don't have to have your life put together before you come to the church.
Right.
Like, oh man, I'll get there soon. You know? It's like, what are you talking about? Like, but see, like, that's a weird mindset lie, you know, that keeps people complacent and stuck. It's like, man, go, do it. Like, get out there. Try something. Fail. Look like a dork.
Right.
You know, but at least you're not sitting on the couch eating another bag of chips.
And you sound like Gary Vee over here.
Right? Like, you know, you
like,
just go
it's okay to fail, guys. Like,
beep, beep, beep. Hold on. Where's my beeper? I have this app that I've just been waiting for the right time to use it, dude. Do you remember it?
Oh, yeah.
Where is it? Hold on. All right, Dakota. So, like, and then you got to, and then from there, you know, like, whatever with them. Just them, okay?
And just, don't be afraid to fail, okay? Just don't
be a fail. You know what? You want to go to college? Enjoy your 4-year vacation. You paying for his college? Sure am. All right, well, enjoy it. See, I knew there was a good use for this app. If you would like to use this app, I thoroughly endorse it. It's called Bleep.
That's a great person to take back to Alex's question about influencing. Gary Vee has some great insight. But, man, don't think you can be Gary Vee. Like, and feel free to don't take my advice either. But, like, every person out there that is just, like, scheming and, like, trying to be, like, do 1,000 things a day because Gary Vee told him to, put some balance and perspective into your life. Like, slow down a little bit.
Don't take everything that someone tells you as 100% accurate.
Yeah.
You know, and Gary Vee, I learn a lot from Gary Vee.
Me
with
too.
his attitude, with his perspective on culture. I mean, he interprets what's happening really well.
He reminds me of, who's the money management guy?
Oh, the Mad Money
Dave
guy?
Ramsey.
Oh, Dave Ramsey.
I hate that guy. Here's the deal with Dave Ramsey. I know he was poor at one point of his life. I don't feel like he remembers what it's like to be poor.
Because he has like this, and we recently went to that, didn't you?
I did his class 2 years ago.
And doesn't he say like, cut all your credit cards and like?
Well, and that's fine, but he puts out this model for, and this is what threw me off, is for finances. I couldn't follow the model. Like, I don't
couldn't afford to.
I couldn't. You want me to put away 50 cents a month into my savings account? Like,
yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
No.
And then on top of that, like, seeing how other businesses have thrived through like debt.
Yeah, right.
Like, I know a guy who's $1 million in debt on paper. That's just.
But it's a positive debt.
Yeah.
It's making him money.
Yeah. And Dave Ramsey would probably throw a banana at his head or something.
Just because that's handy.
Anyways, there's a balance to
yeah,
all of
exactly. Interpret. Use common sense.
Yeah.
And continue to grow in yourself. Not so outside oriented. But what I mean is, you can't take other people's stuff and make it yours.
Right? It's
I
not
guess.
cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Every body is different.
Yeah.
Every lifestyle is different.
And so often I feel like the biggest barrier to growing is yourself.
Yeah.
Because we're too afraid of us sometimes. And our world, and this goes into the spiritual side of things, is so focused on making you deaf.
Right.
And blind.
Yep.
And it's I mean, think of the algorithm of TikTok. You know what I mean? But I mean, you always spend 45 more minutes on TikTok at least than you want.
Right.
You
and
know
there's
what I mean?
a balance to that.
And there's a balance to that.
So that's, my wife and I just put parental locks on our phones,
Yeah.
specifically for TikTok, because dude, it's like cocaine. It's
But
it's
right?
made so that you don't want to stop, because every video, well, most videos, you're like, this is relatable to me.
This is great. And then you like it, or you spend 5 more seconds on it than they did the prior video. So it's like, boom, it shoots you another one. Boom, it shoots you another one. How often do I've been on TikTok almost every other day. I don't get on it every day. I've been trying to do that in general on my phone.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, think of how much of your day is spent looking at a screen.
Right?
I'm like, I read a stat, this was a couple years ago, that half of your life is spent looking at a screen.
That's insane.
Whether it be a computer, whether it be your phone, whether it be the TV, a projector, what if you go to work, if you go to the church, if you go to whatever, I mean, you're looking at a screen most of the time.
Wow.
Half of your life is spent looking at pixels. So I was like, man, I don't want to be that person. Like, that's stupid. But again, it is the world we live in,
Sure.
but there is a balance to that. You cannot relate our current reality to what used to be. I hate that. I hate hearing all the times are different now. I'm like, yes, they are. I mean, embrace it. We should constantly reevaluate it, especially in ministry. I don't know. Gets me. Okay, here's another thing that I am not balanced with sometimes is I get really grumpy about stuff sometimes.
Sure.
And fired up and just irritated. And then I need to take a breath. Because we need to allow... see, this is why sometimes I don't work well with the team, is because I feel like they're wrong. And maybe that's a pride thing.
You feel like Tony Stark.
Yeah, I feel like Gary Vee out here, man. I mean, like... Yeah, I mean, like, you ever just felt like you're Tony Stark? I mean, and everybody else is like Captain America.
Oh my god.
I mean, man, what have you been, frozen 70 years in the ice? Jeez. Get with it, man.
That couldn't be a more perfect example. Honestly.
And not to say I'm always right, okay? Like, I'm not saying that. But sometimes I like to think I am. So there's a balance there. I'm not always right, which I'm learning. But I mean, I don't mean that in like a conceited way, but I need to learn that I'm not always right. Yeah,
So,
anyways.
here's a question. What does the Bible say about balance?
I'm glad you asked. No. So I kind of put together, this is from me. This is not something I found anywhere else. This was Zach's 4 points of balance in your life. So I kind of came to this idea, and this is, again, something, I mean, we're praising Alex, our friend, a lot today, but this was one thing that he, Jocko Willington said this as well, but also Alex kind of put a skew on it, and I put them together, and I was like, this is good. Okay, so this idea of taking complete ownership over your life.
Yeah. And
the way that Alex put this is, everything is your fault. Okay, if the power goes out in your house, guess what? It's your fault. You should have had a generator.
That's true.
If that's been a common occurrence, guess what? You should have went to the government and said something about it.
My boss said a great leader takes blame for every mistake and gives praise to other people for every good thing that happens.
Yeah, well, it's a great way to live. And and there's a balance in that, of course, too.
Yeah.
It's not at your detriment.
Right.
But like, everything is your fault. I mean, if your kid got an F on their test, guess what? You should have been up with them, helping. Everything. I mean, everything
Sure.
from stubbing your toe to not being healthy and maybe not having balance physically. If you feel like you're getting not enough sleep, if you feel like you're a big fat pud on the seat, if you're not where you want to be, if your nutrition is coming from the window at McDonald's, guess what? If you feel like crap and you're groggy, you can't think straight,
Right.
it's your own fault.
Yep.
So take complete ownership. Now, when change happens is when you want. It's nobody else's fault but yours. If you feel insecure at the gym, get over it. If you don't want to go to the gym, guess what? You have a floor at your house too.
Right.
You probably have access to YouTube. If not, you know how to do a push-up from when you were a kid. So John 5:2-6. Now there is in Jerusalem, near the sheep gate, a pool, which in Aramaic is called Bethesda, and which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. So verse 3, Here, a great number of disabled people used to lie, the blind, the lame, the paralyzed. One who was there had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he had been in this condition for a long time, he asked, do you want to get well?
Right.
And I absolutely love that verse. Do you want to?
Right.
I mean, do you want to get well? And, it's like, oh, it's, of course, duh, no brainer. But do you really?
Right.
And we talked about this versus complacent and content.
Yeah.
And, too often we get complacent in our comfort zone, which is less than ideal. We don't want to be who we are, but we're happy being who we are. Almost. It's a weird thing. So do you want to get well?
Right.
So do you want to get better? Do you want to get more balanced? Do you want to get more fit? Do it. So make that decision. Second one is plan ahead. Ephesians 5:15, be very careful then how you live, not as unwise but wise. This is an important one because if you don't plan ahead and you're being blown about by the day, you're probably not well balanced.
Sure.
Unless that fits your lifestyle. So this one has a little bit of a gray area.
Sure.
But I mean, you should have a general idea. Like you've been getting off of PlayStation at 11.
Yeah, so this week was a pretty bad week for me, honestly. And so I noticed I was off balance and like sat down, talked to my wife, and we actually came up with a plan of how to try to go about this in a healthy way. So I've been going to bed super early, haven't been on my phone while I'm in bed. I've been taking vitamins, so I take a vitamin that helps me sleep, and then when I wake up I take a B12 that's supposed to perk you up and change your attitude. Been praying, reading my Bible, and I've definitely seen my balance shift back into my normal self. And so not to be prideful, but if you're struggling, just take 5 minutes and just create a plan and then just stick with it and see what happens.
Definitely.
Don't let your body have any excuse to be what it's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eliminate those excuses.
It's good. And that's just a little planning.
Yeah.
And then sticking to it, obviously.
Yeah.
Which comes into the third point which almost negates that one. Be flexible. But, we could make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. Yeah. Proverbs 16:9. And overall, if your day's not getting interrupted, this isn't for me, it's a friend of mine. He goes, if your day's not getting interrupted, you're probably not serving God.
Right.
So you got to allow for that.
Right. And if if you mess up, that's a part of being flexible. Don't be hard on yourself. Oh, I missed my B12. What an idiot I am.
Crap, day's done.
Yeah, be flexible with yourself,
And then lastly, number 4, it's okay to rest.
Mm-hmm.
And so, somebody needs to hear that. People need to hear it. It's okay to rest.
And
Matthew,
I was just going to say there's balance to that too.
There is. All of these have their balance points. But Matthew 11:28, then Jesus said, come to me, all you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest.
Yeah.
So, overall, the key takeaways is take complete ownership over your life, plan ahead, be flexible. It's okay to rest. All of those have balance to them, but all of them are on you.
Yeah. How's your front yard? Has a long winter made your lawn look as patchy as Zach's beard? If so, Next Generation Services is here for you. From decorative concrete curbing, tree trimming, scheduled mowing, and all your other landscaping needs, Next Generation sets a standard for professionalism and is always just one phone call away. Check them out at buttelandscapers.com.
And his name is John C.
So this is a banger. Dude, absolute banger. Loyal, he won the whole way I found Loyal. You found Loyal.
Yeah.
He's a great artist. He won the Space Dogs Challenge, which was introduced by Curtis Hoppy. And it's Curtis Hoppy and Cannon. Cannon really wasn't involved in it too much.
No.
I didn't really see him involved on social, at least. But so Loyal won the Space Dogs Challenge. I had to remix this song, and he won it. But then I found out who the heck he was, right?
Yeah.
And he has a great album out there, Romans 8:28. But on there's a song called Angels, My Shooters. And it's such a banger, dude. I just love it.
Lord, just take the wheel right now. Lord, just take the wheel right now. I made the them angels, my shooters. Don't go nowhere without my shooter. Yeah, yeah. I had to quit being foolish and stuck in my waist before I lose it. Yeah, yeah. I put them diamonds all up on the Jesus piece, straight from the jeweler. Yeah, yeah. This is a different type music now. Say it. Can I get a hallelujah? 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 Can I get a hallelujah?
If you have a song you'd like to hear particularly played, or have a song that you've written yourself or a custom beat, send it to us and give us permission to play it, and you may find it featured as our walkout song of the week.
The sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Jesus Christ!
Ephesians 4:32. Be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving each other, just as God in Christ has also forgiven you. Be kind.
Be kind.
Let it go. Forgive.
Be balanced.
Be balanced, would you?
When you look into it,
You gotta look into it.
look into it.
I've been
When you look
looking
into
into
it,
Then the sacred chase, moving from proximity to intimacy with God. Unfortunately, we have thousands of voices distracting us, and all too often we listen to them. We confuse proximity to God with intimacy with God and are content with a Christian branded life, yet miss out on what we were created for, knowing God intimately. This book is for everyone who longs for a deeper connection with God, who has felt far from peace and hope, and who needs the assurance that God is both interested in who they are and accepts them.
Wow. Talk
And-
about a book about balance, huh?
Dude, yeah. This is a book I'm reading right now. I haven't completed it. But Heath Adamson, one of my favorite authors, he was here in youth conference one year. I don't know if you were at that one or
Oh,
not.
yeah.
But I was gone, and Jake was here. He brought another book that I have from Heath called The Bush Always Burns. Another
Which
great
is a
book.
great book.
Really good book. But Jake brought that and had it signed by him, which was really cool. But this Sacred Chase just came out like a month ago or a couple weeks ago. So that's a book I'm reading currently. Great book. It's highly, highly recommended. Dakota, that was a banger of an episode.
That sure was. Yeah, I did think of one thing, actually, just as a kind of advice. If you, if you want to create more balance to your life, but you're struggling with it, and you've put it all on yourself, and you're still, having difficulties, find a friend who you think emulates balance physically really well, and go to them. Because that's what I did with Zach. I told him, hey, I need someone to help keep me accountable, maybe not let me eat 8 Big Macs a day, and maybe in your life you can do the same thing and start seeing results. That is it for this episode. Be sure to stay up to date on all things TFL by following us on all social platforms, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you so much for listening to Season 2 of Crosschoke. It was a blast creating this episode, and we hope you enjoyed listening. Submit any fun questions, inquisitive comments, serious requests, or hilarious stories to tflministries.com/podcast. Feel free to follow Zach at Andobutte and myself at Southford Day. Have an amazing day and join us next time on Crosschoke. Okay, what makes a good... What in the world?
It's that morning, man,
I sound like a spider.
A spider? What does a spider sound like?
You ever watch Harry Potter?
Yeah. Like Aragog?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Man, you were so excited when you said climactic conclusion.
I was prepared. I was also really excited to say scurry.
Scurry. That's a great memory.
Of what?
Remember that? Wasn't that on a podcast? What? I can't even do it fast. How are you doing?
That sounded like a Perry the Platypus.
Perry the Platypus.
What are these references?
What? I forgot you're like Generation X over here.
Bro, come on. I'm not that much older than you. Generation, what? Generation?